Welcome back, myth and magic listeners. Grab your coziest socks, your favorite drinky drinks, keep it close, and settle in, because today we're diving into the chilling legend of the Wendigo, which is probably, I know I said that I really love the Mothman, and I do. He's probably third on my list of favorite cryptids. And to be honest, I don't know if you can really count the Wendigo as a cryptid because they're an actual folklore entity. And I love them so much. They're terrifying and amazing. And I did write a short story based on the Wendigo. If you want to do a story time and have me read it to you in one of these videos, let me know. I don't know. I tried to keep it. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll go more out. Because originally I wrote this short story for a family-friendly story thingy anthology, and it wasn't what they were looking for anyway. So maybe I'll go in and I'll do a little more, because I like to get a little bit gritty. And it's not as gritty as I sometimes go. But if you're interested in hearing this short story I wrote, let me know in the comments below. I think it's fun, and it's the first successful short story I've ever written. I can't write short. This was a challenge and I did it. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. But we're talking about the Wendigo. I feel like I should have probably dressed a little more appropriately for something so terrifying, but we're in our cozies today. This is a creature that has haunted the forests and imaginations of people for centuries. And trust me, it's a story worth unraveling. Let's start with the name itself. The Wendigo is derived from the Ojibwe word Wendigo, and there are similar terms in the Algonquian languages like the Cree Witigo, like the Cree Witigo. The historical origins of the Wendigo are deeply rooted in the oral traditions and belief systems of various Algonquian-speaking peoples, particularly those from the northern forests of the Great Lakes region and the eastern coast of Canada and the United States. These include the Ojibwe, Cree, Saulteaux, Naskapi, and Innu, and I apologize if I'm getting these wrong. The program I used to try and make sure everything had pronunciation guides didn't work for this one, and I'm having to look these up, and I'm doing my best to follow the pronunciation guide that way, but I apologize if I am messing it up. For these indigenous communities, the Wendigo wasn't just a monster in a story. It was a very real embodiment of the dangers of survival in harsh winter environments, particularly the threat of starvation and the desperate measures it could lead to. So how is a Wendigo born or created? Well, the most common origin story is quite tragic and grim. A human being transforms into a Wendigo, typically after resorting to cannibalism to survive during a harsh winter when no other food is available. This act, born of desperation, is believed to corrupt the individual, turning them into a monstrous reflection of their former self. In some traditions, the transformation can also be brought on by greed, excessive hunger, or being possessed by the Wendigo spirit. It's not just the act of eating human flesh, it's the desire for it, the insatiable hunger that takes root in the soul. And what does this terrifying creature look like? The appearance of the Wendigo varies somewhat across different tribal traditions, but there are recurring themes. Often it's described as gaunt, emaciated to the point of being skeletal, with stretched leathery skin, sometimes the color of ash or ice. Its eyes are often sunken and glowing with an unholy light, and its lips are said to be raw or bitten away. reflecting its endless hunger. It's often depicted as incredibly tall, sometimes reaching many times the height of a man, with long, sharp claws and teeth. Some accounts describe it as having a heart of ice or radiating an unnatural color. It's a truly horrifying image, a walking, starving corpse forever driven by an unnatural appetite. The primary purpose of the Wendigo is singular: to feed. It is an embodiment of insatiable hunger, specifically for human flesh. It stalks the desolate wilderness, preying on those who wander too far, those who are lost, or those who are weak. Beyond mere survival, its hunger is a curse, an eternal torment that can never be satisfied. It represents the ultimate taboo in many cultures, cannibalism, and serves as a powerful deterrent against such desperate acts. As for a personality, the Wendigo is typically portrayed as malevolent, predatory, and utterly devoid of compassion or remorse. It is cunning and relentless in its pursuit of prey. Its personality is defined by its ceaseless hunger and the cold, unfeeling nature that comes with its transformation. There's no negotiation, no pity, just the primal drive to consume. Let's talk about the powers and attributes of this terrifying entity. Beyond its immense physical strength and speed, which allow it to easily overpower and pursue its victims, the Wendigo is often said to possess supernatural abilities. It can move silently through the forest, even over snow, leaving no tracks. Some legends claim it can mimic human voices to lure its prey or even manipulate the weather, bringing blizzards or intensifying cold to further isolate its victims. Its very presence is said to bring about a deep chill and an overwhelming sense of dread. It's also often depicted as nearly invulnerable, with a heart of ice that is incredibly difficult to destroy. The only way to truly defeat a Wendigo in many stories is to melt its icy heart or completely destroy it through fire. When it comes to symbols and depictions, the Wendigo is in itself a powerful symbol. It represents greed, gluttony, and the destructive consequences of selfishness and breaking taboos. It symbolizes the dangers of isolation and the harsh realities of surviving in unforgiving environments. Visually, it's always depicted as gaunt, monstrous, and terrifying, often with skeletal features and an unnerving presence. In some artistic depictions, and I don't think that this is actually true to the original Wendigo physicality. If you know better, please let me know in the comments below. I would actually like to know it specifically, but I haven't been able to find anything solid. But there have been depictions of it with kind of bestial features, with a skeleton face of a deer and antlers and having fur. This is more of a animalistic take on the Wendigo, and I'll admit that combining the two is aesthetically more exciting to me, and so I'll admit that that's where I've gone with my short stories, the combination of the two. But that, like I said, when we do these videos, we learn these things so that we can respect and honor what it is that we are using, but have the creativity to alter it for our own purposes. If you're going to do that, though, I will say in this video right now, in this case, I would never call my creature a Wendigo, knowing that it's not factually true to what I at least know versus what I have seen and what creative liberties people have taken. That being said, the actual depiction of this very tall, gaunt, almost corpse-like individual, this monstrous and terrifying skeletal entity, its depictions serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of giving into one's darkest impulses. Given its terrifying nature, it's probably not surprising that there's no worship of the Wendigo in the traditional sense. It's not a deity to be appeased or revered. Instead, it's a being to be feared, avoided, and if absolutely necessary, destroyed. However, some traditions do speak of the Wendigo psychosis, a culture-bound syndrome that manifests as an intense craving for human flesh and a fear of becoming a Wendigo. This isn't worship, but rather a psychological manifestation of the deep-seated fear and cultural understanding of the creature. This is an actual, psychological thing that people can suffer from. In modern worship, the sense of actively following or venerating the Wendigo is essentially non-existent. It remains a creature of horror and a warning to indigenous cultures. However, its influence has extended into various forms of art and pop culture, where it continues to inspire and terrify. Like I said, I wrote a short story that is inspired by the Wendigo, but because I am not staying absolutely true to what I understand to be factually true, I would never call it a Wendigo. It's a creature that I have not named. In art, the Wendigo appears in countless illustrations, sculptures, and digital creations. For those interested in seeing how artists interpret this creature, I encourage you to seek out illustrations by Native American artists who often bring a culturally informed perspective. You can find incredible pieces on platforms like ArtStation or DeviantArt by searching for Wendigo concept art or Wendigo fan art. Some artists also create sculptures and figurines, which you might find on independent artist websites or art marketplaces. These works often emphasize its gaunt skeletal features and chilling demeanor, exploring concepts of fear, hunger, and humanity's darker side. And having just done a quick Google search of the Wendigo and art pieces, even without the kind of more animalistic additions that is added to it, like the horns and the skeletal deer face, it's a pretty intense creature. And I honestly don't know where that skeleton and horn feature comes from. Let's see if we can find out. Okay, so antlers and deer skulls are not consistent features in original lore, though some rare regional variants mention antlers symbolically. I guess it's more of a symbolic feature that is a rare variant in some regions. But I would be careful, again, to make sure you're not going too far beyond the realm of what is factual and making sure you are honoring what the myth or lore actually is in any culture you're dealing with. There are some things that are very spiritual and serious, and you have to be careful of that, making sure. You can take inspiration for something, but if you're going to completely change it and just use a piece of it and just don't call it what you're getting inspiration from. Now this brings us to pop culture, where the Wendigo has truly found a new life, captivating audiences far beyond its original cultural context. It appeared in numerous horror movies, television shows, video games, and novels. In film, you can check out Antlers, the 2021 movie, a more recent film that directly tackles the Wendigo legend, connecting it to environmental themes. You might also find its spirit echoed in films like Ravenous, a 1999 film, which, while not explicitly naming the Wendigo, deeply explores the themes of cannibalism and transformation rooted in similar folklore. That might be a little too intimidating for me, a little too intense. I don't know, cannibalism is one of those things that it depends on how gritty they get with it. I enjoy grit, but when it comes to certain things, there's a line, like an eyeball thing. For television, an early and notable appearance is in Supernatural, specifically Season 1, Episode 2, titled Wendigo. I watched Season 1 of Supernatural and I can't remember this episode, but it's where the Winchester brothers hunt one down. You can also see a metaphorical interpretation of the Wendigo in the Cannibal TV series, representing Hannibal Lecter's predatory and cannibalistic nature. That one I do plan to watch. My husband has, and he really liked it. Not to say that we have exact aligned interests and preferences in our film watching or TV watching, but that's one that I am interested in. Video games offer some truly terrifying Wendigo encounters. The game Until Dawn 2015 features Wendigos as the primary antagonist. With their design and behavior, supernatural speed, strength, and inability to see still prey, kind of like a T-Rex, I think, heavily inspired by the traditional lore. In Fallout 76 2018, you'll also encounter Wendigos as a type of enemy creature in the Appalachian wasteland. In literature, a classic horror novella is The Wendigo by Algernon Blackwood, 1910, one of the earliest and most influential fictional works to popularize the creature in Western literature. For comic book fans, Marvel Comics features a recurring monster simply called the Wendigo, where characters like Wolverine and Hulk have famously fought it. And while not a direct Wendigo, Stephen King's Pet Sematary, 1983, heavily implies the ancient evil that inhabits the Micmac burial ground. I hope I said that right. Micmac? Is that right? Leading to reanimation and desecration, is deeply connected to Wendigo lore and the horrors of cannibalism. Yeah, I think cannibalism, unless it's just like a surface thing. Did you see that movie 13th Warrior? I think that's why I'm grossed out by cannibalism, aside from it just being like, I watched that one. And I really liked that movie. But there was something really super creepy about it, and I don't even remember if they actually showed you any of that. I can't even remember if it actually is about cannibalism. Regardless, I think that it might be that movie that really grossed me out. I don't know. Anyway, the stories of the Wendigo are countless and varied, passed down through generations. They serve as cautionary tales, often emphasizing the dangers of greed, isolation, and most importantly, the devastating consequences of cannibalism. These narratives often feature individuals who, driven to desperation by starvation, resort to consuming human flesh, only to be cursed with an insatiable hunger and transformed into the monstrous Wendigo. Other stories involve encounters with existing Wendigos, highlighting their cunning, their relentless pursuit, and the extreme measures required to survive such an encounter. These tales are not just scary stories, they are deeply ingrained cultural lessons about respect for nature, community, and the sanctity of life. And that, my dear listeners, brings us to the end of our journey into the chilling world of the Wendigo, and also to the end of our autumn spooky-ish season. We try to do things that are a little more of the supernatural vibe, at least. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you are having a wonderful day, that you are just having fun. This is supposed to be fun, so I hope that it is something that you can just sit back and relax and just hear about some spooky mythological things. So, from its ancient roots in Algonquian folklore to its terrifying appearances in modern media, the Wendigo remains a powerful and enduring figure of horror, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk both within ourselves and in the deepest, coldest parts of the wilderness. Thank you for joining me on today's Myth and Magic episode. Stay safe out there. Be the light we need in this world. Be creative. Have fun. And remember, some hungers are best left unsatisfied. And if you have any stories about any of the creatures we've talked about this fall season, whether it's a Mothman encounter, Wendigo, or even the Black Shuck, maybe, tell me in the comments below. And if you want to do a story time where we just talk about stories, we'll do stories through all of these different creatures, let me know in the comments if you have any references, any ideas, and we can just do like a little cozy like story time, maybe. I am filming these a little ahead of schedule so that I make sure that I can enjoy the holidays and the season, and we're gonna play, so our time is really gonna be constrained. So, but if there are people either this year or next year or whenever this video maybe catches on, maybe, let me know in the comments if you have a desire to do a spooky story time with any of the creatures we've talked about today. We did a lot last year, but we talked about less creatures last year too. So yeah, just let me know, because there are some that have stories that you can actually reference beyond just what we talk about in these videos. And there are some like the Black Shuck where there's just kind of the one and there's not a whole lot of detail, at least that I could find. I might be able to dig deeper and find other things, but for now, that's the end of our journey this season. We're gonna go into something a little more whimsical in our December videos. We've got a couple. Yes, we have a couple, and then we're gonna take a break so that everybody can just focus on the holiday season and enjoy whatever you're gonna do, whether it's celebrating Christmas or another wonderful holiday. Spend time with your families. And if you need, just some camaraderie, come back here. There will be lots to see, I hope. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.